We're very pleased to be joined by Israel's Deputy Minister of Defense, Danon. Danny, we thank you very much for spending time with us here on America's Forum.
Thank you, JJ and John. It's a great pleasure to be on your show again.
Well, Danny, give us the latest on what has transpired overnight there in Israel.
We are still in the middle of the operation. We see that the Hamas is still firing on civilian population, and they're committing a double war crime. In one hand, they're shooting the missiles from civilian population into our cities. We are continuing the fight. We try not to hurt any civilians, and unfortunately, we see the Hamas is very eager to create other conflicts. We saw them digging tunnels. We saw them coming from the ocean, and only this morning they tried to attack Israel with a drone from the sea. Thanks God we were able to stop them and to fight back. And today the people in Israel are together, willing to fight, willing to sacrifice more, but in order to have real tranquility in the area for a long period of time.
Well, Danny, I want to talk more about the drone. Now, did your intelligence say that Hamas has the technology to come up with the drone, or is it supplied by Iran? What information do you have on the origination of the drone that was shot down?
We were not caught by surprise. When you had the tunnels coming from the Sinai Peninsula into Gaza, it meant you can transfer everything. And we know that many weapons, rockets, drones, and other means came from Sinai into Gaza, and we were aware of that. That's why a few days ago we asked all of the civilian aircrafts not to fly in the southern area of Israel, but I can assure you that we have the capability and the technology to fight it back and to make sure that the drones will not get into Israel.
Danny, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious do you gauge this threat of these drones? Because when we say drones, a lot of times the picture that most Americans get in their mind are the Predator drones that are used by the United States. But give us a comparison here on the drone that was shot down and what Hamas is using and how serious of a threat you think that might be.
Well, basically, when I was a teenager, I had the pleasure to fly small drones myself. So today it's very easy to acquire the capability and the technology and to have those means up in the air. But we are watching it. But we also know that the Hamas is putting a lot of money, a lot of funds into getting new technology, new missiles, and the drones are a challenge for us. But we do have the capability to monitor and to protect our skies.
Danny, the UN Security Council called for a ceasefire over the weekend. Prime Minister Netanyahu appeared in the United States on several of the Sunday morning talk shows. Here's what Prime Minister Netanyahu had to say yesterday on Face the Nation on CBS.
Our goal is to achieve sustainable quiet and security for our people, and we're doing that by degrading Hamas and other terror capabilities. I'm not going to say right now how and when that goal will be achieved, whether by diplomatic and military means, but that goal has to be achieved.
So, Danny, what needs to happen for Israel to agree to a ceasefire?
I think we have to be very clear that the ceasefire is not enough. We have to demilitarize Gaza from the missiles. Otherwise, we will be speaking again about the same problems within a few months. I think we have to aim to exactly what happened in Syria, where international pressure forced Assad to take out the chemical weapons. That's what we need to now demand from the people in Gaza and from the international community, not only to call for a ceasefire, but to make sure that we take the rockets capability out of Gaza. Otherwise, it's only a matter of months until the next conflict.
Danny, while on the air yesterday on CBS, air raid sirens went off in the background. Prime Minister Netanyahu took time to explain to his American audience what you and Israel go through on a daily basis now. Let's take a listen to that exchange.
Can you hear this through the, can you hear this? No?
Yes.
Well, what you're hearing right now is that's the calm alert. In other words, when we began this interview, we were under bomb alert. And as the minutes passed, now we are being told that people can go out. into the open air again. This is the kind of reality we're living in, Bob, and we'll do, as I said, whatever is necessary to put an end to this.
And so the sirens heard yesterday during the Face the Nation broadcast. Danny, how often have citizens of Israel heard those sirens in the last 24 hours?
We have hundreds of missiles flying into Israel, and I can tell you as a father of 3 young children that it is not a pleasant experience for us here in Israel. I think people are feeling it, that they have to run and to seek for a shelter. It's not pleasant at all. What I was suggesting is that whenever there is a siren, air raid siren going off in Israel, we should put the electricity off in Gaza. I don't know if you are aware of that, but we are providing the electricity into Gaza. By the way, they are not paying for that, but we are providing electricity that is being used to send missiles against us. My idea was that whenever we have to run for shelter and we have to put our life into a pause, there will be no electricity in Gaza for that period of time. So also the other side will feel what we are feeling under the missile threat.
Danny, one of the things that a lot of folks were watching this weekend as Israel continued to build up and the response increased to Hamas, are we any closer or further away from a possible ground invasion today than, say, we were Friday?
Militarily-wise, we are ready. The troops are ready, equipped, and if there will be a decision in the cabinet, the military is capable to go inside and to do whatever you need. I don't know whether it will happen or not. There's a lot of people trying to mediate now between Israel and the Hamas. I think we have to hit the Hamas harder, then they will be willing to talk. I think for now, they haven't felt the pressure yet. And in our neighborhood, I wish we had neighbors like yours, Canada or Mexico, or the ocean, which is the best. In Israel, it's not the reality. We have the Hamas, the Hezbollah, we have the Syrians. This is a neighborhood you have to show strength every once in a while and to flex your missiles. That's something we haven't done yet, I think, in this operation.
Danny, about a minute and a half remains. Not only the neighbors that border Israel, but the general neighborhood of the Middle East. Continued concern about Iran. Our Secretary of State, John Kerry, in Vienna this weekend, meeting with negotiators concerning Iran's pursuit of nuclear weapons. Do you believe the negotiations to keep nuclear weapons out of the hands of Iran will be successful? And failing that, what is Israel prepared to do? About a minute. Danny, can you hear me? Well, apparently we have lost the connection with Danny Danon, the Deputy Defense Minister of Israel, but we thank him very much for his time. John, almost an ominous conclusion to that interview, because the question remains, Hamas, obviously a problem, the Israeli military, the reservists mobilized, but still, what about Iran and nuclear weapons?
And as we heard from Danny there, surrounded on all sides with the exception of the ocean on the one side, but still that drone came in from the ocean. No clear, safe area for Israel like he talked about, where we can expect relative calm from Mexico and from Canada.
Well, we might offer a friendly amendment to relative calm
I
from
said
Mexico.
Relative,
yes,
relative.
Our border area causing problems. We'll talk about that. In the meantime, we'd love your comments on Middle East strife. Tweet us your comments at Newsmax TV, #America's Forum.